long towards summer, Prabhupada went to Montreal, and I wrote to him and begged forgiveness for my offenses and told him I couldn't forget him, and couldn't forget Krishna consciousness, and I wanted to surrender to him. He wrote back and said, "Oh, my dear son, how have I ever lost you? I've been crying to Krishna, how have I lost Kirtanananda?" And he invited us to come and visit him in Montreal. We did, and he embraced me very warmly and said, "Now it is confirmed that we cannot be separated."
One morning, one of the devotees asked me to bring over some bhoga to Srila Prabhupada's, where he was staying, and so I walked over there with the groceries, and I knocked real softly on the door, and Himavati opened the door, just a little crack, and I handed her the bhoga.
Pretend I'm sleeping. I didn't know what I should do, so I didn't do anything. I pretended I was sleeping. But the next day the same thing happened. I was so nervous I couldn't sleep again. So when Prabhupada got up and started chanting, then I also made myself known. So Prabhupada, he turned on the light and he said, "Oh, you're up?" I said, "Well, Prabhupada, I'm so nervous I haven't been able to sleep." And he said, "Oh, that's good, very good." He said, I think sleeping is a waste of time." He said, "I don't like to sleep." He said, "And I don't like my disciples to sleep." Then he said, "Practically speaking, our aim is to make eating zero, sleeping zero, sex zero, and defense zero. We don't say that, but that is the aim."
The Montreal temple, was going very well, but we always had a difficult time paying the monthly rent. And there was some danger that they would lose the temple at one point because they just didn't have the rent money. And Prabhupada actually proposed the idea to me and Pradyumna that we should go out and meet people in the Indian community and explain to them that we're trying to establish this Radha Krishna temple here and maintain this temple, and that we would like their support and help. But in any case, Pradyumna and I didn't actually follow up that instruction. I think that we just didn't know how to go about doing it. But one thing that I did know how to do, I knew how to sort of go out and raise money at an airport. I mean, I was just a young boy, 17. I remember being short on my airline fare a couple of times, and I didn't know what to do. So I just started asking people, "Could you spare a buck? I'm, $5 short on my flight." And sort of miraculously, people were kind enough to give me a few dollars. And here I was, I had absolutely no skill. I went out and went to the airport, and I just started doing that, and I managed to raise a few $100s. And I gave it to the temple for the rent, and I wasn't even aware that Prabhupada knew about it, really. But about 4 or 5 years later, just out of the blue, Prabhupada said to me, he said, "I remember when you raised the money to save the Montreal temple." And I was so touched to realize that Prabhupada had this memory of me, that I had done some service to help save the temple. And it just really surprised me because I had no idea that Prabhupada was aware of that or that he would remember that. I'll never forget, in so many ways, Prabhupada always expressed such kindness and love for his disciples.
Janardhan arranged one time for Prabhupada to go speak to the professors at McGill University. They had a faculty meeting or something, so Prabhupada went to join them for dinner. Prabhupada doesn't eat dinner with people who eat meat and stuff, but he said, "I'm not supposed to do this," but he says, "It's for preaching, I'll go." See, after Boston, Prabhupada went to Montreal, and he spent the whole summer there. Actually, he had to go there because his visa was finished, and he had to leave the country. And it was uncertain even whether Prabhupada would be able to ever return to the United States. And Allen Ginsberg was helping, Ramananda had Ginsberg working with lawyers to try to get his And they said the only way he can do this is if he leaves the country. He has to leave the country to make a new visa application. And it has to be 3 months at least. So Prabhupada established in Montreal, and he said, it's okay. Doesn't matter, we get it, we don't get it, then I'll make Montreal the world headquarters. And a lot of devotees came up for the summer, and then it was under application. And then about in August sometime it came through, he got it.